All plants fit into one of these categories, but most of the time when you hear these words, you think of short-lived plants, and that's generally because that's what they're about. But perennial, annuals, and biennials are quite similar in different ways. They have similar life cycles with slightly different adjustments to each one. A perennial is a plant who lives for more than 2 years, generally speaking. These are plants like Banksias or tomatoes. A perennial is characterized by having a seed that turns into a vegetative growth stage or shooting up new leaves and eventually flowering and producing more seeds if the flowers are pollinated. From these seeds, it can produce offspring plants in and around it or however it's transported, but the tree itself or the plant itself doesn't die as a perennial. It can continue to grow and do another set of flowering and seeds. This can continue for 2 to thousands of years. That's a perennial. An annual, on the other hand, is a plant that grows for just one season or 1 year. It completes its life cycle just once, from seed to leaves to flowers to death and seeding. Often when an annual produces its seeds, it dies. Sometimes you can keep annuals alive with specific pruning techniques, and the alternative video does go through that a little bit more because it is more of a gardening video. But generally speaking, in nature, annuals are the kind of plants you see show up after a wet season and disappear until the conditions are right again. Finally, a biennial plant is very similar to an annual, except it completes the cycle twice. So seed to leaves to flowers to creating seeds, and then at this point, it can do one more round. On the second round, it is usually going to die and produce its last set of seeds. Biennials have a slight advantage in that if the conditions weren't really good for seed and flower production in the first season, it has a chance to have a go in the second season. Whilst annuals are very reliant on conditions being right that first time. And that's why there's such an explosion of annuals after the right conditions come up. If you look at semi-arid areas like the Flinders Ranges in South Australia, when there's rain there, it changes completely into an area full of annuals, full of flowers, until the rain stops and a few months later they've all flowered and seeded and they return to being death. They return to being death. They return their nutrients to the soil and wait for the seeds to have the right conditions pop up.